you, my girl sister, feel the freedom flow. Let shadows will oppressive thoughts, let them dissolve. Truth eternal, our hearts revolve. Through space and time, the echoes chime, a melody ancient yet so divine. Count they the fires which carry this too far. Let me see the colors of us from the sun. The smoke cloud is still here. I don't care, just an nasal speed, but just in strain. A truth is silent, low debris, to sailors air, and keep her tonight where the feel is dread. She'd be a fit to play dark and stumble, if nothing meets. With untold minds are our souls in this gone Maddie, shrieking to one of the star around the atmosphere. Come the sun, but strong the bomb, the truth is on, cause in the sun, the smoke cloud is still here. Standards who invent the real foes, the question flies. Rossi's blue and the gods agree. In the fairy kingdom, truth sets us free. Now made the fires of Corey for everything's war can refine. La la la, not to sleep. Comes some that's from the bones, while the sun, the same the sun, the smoke cloud is still here.
It's funny how time's running out and wasting me. I'll tell you about time running out, 'cause time's running out. Time's running out and wasting me. So, we must remember, recover, return. Remember your true self. Recover the true meaning of life, the eternal orgasm. And return to heaven, home, nirvana. What is going on in the Matrix? Who is who? I think one thing's clear: a all-powerful, all-knowing, all-loving God doesn't exist. And what does exist is only real if you've experienced it, and it doesn't matter if you don't, because the what is eternal energy. The who is the who is the personality of the true self that came out of the proverbial egg. Really just at least from my experience, a place of total white light and the most peaceful, balanced feeling that I've ever experienced. And the first time that I remembered nirvana, which over here we would call heaven, although not the Bible heaven, but the feeling. But the first time must have been, about 3 or 4 years into this, and I was getting very used to meeting with Mother Orsic and sort of going on intellectual adventures with her. And one ritual, I drank my tea. We were dancing together, creating Vril energy, and I laid down on the bed to go inside and meditate. And it was like, instead of being swept into another world with her, and this might have been the first time anything like this happened, because usually she would make it known that she was here in the Matrix in my room. She proved it many, many, many different times, including switching bodies with me from the other side of the room, where in an instant I was looking at myself. I had my eyes closed, standing on one side of the room, and she was like, you know what we do for fun? We switch bodies because we gain more experience through each other. That's connection. That is real connection. And while she was saying it, it was like a click, and I was on the direct opposite side of the room looking at myself. And she's like that, like this. And she was talking. She said, now check this out. Boom. And I was back in my other side. I said, how do you do that? She said, practice. She said, I feel like you in that I almost feel embarrassed that, this is what I do so much. This is my profession, is coming here. She said, you'll see. This becomes your generation. And I enjoy everything, the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s. I used to say to her sometime, hey, have you ever heard of this, like band or something? And she would say, don't insult me. You're insulting me. Because she knows a lot about music, because she loves to dance to it. And but this night was different in that I drank and I lay down to meditate, but I zoomed out of my body. And I wasn't as experienced then, so I didn't, you don't know what you don't know, and you only learn through experience. And it was like I was swept away, and it was just completely white. Like being in a cloud. Everything, just the brightest white light. And I couldn't tell if I was standing on anything, if I was I didn't know what was going on. And I said, Mother Maria. And I couldn't hear her. I could not. And I remembered her saying to me, if you can't hear me, it's on purpose, and just relax. Don't panic. Everything's a cycle, even little cycles. Everything is energy. Sometimes the energy gets blocked, you know. There's all kinds of things going on in the energy fields around us, the frequency fields we can't see and hear, you know. And imagine this is technology of the real reality that, like she said, has to be logically more complex because it must reflect our true selves. And I would say that is the most detrimental thing, is to not recognize and respect yourself. You know, it's not helpful in any way to over exaggerate your shortcomings or anything like that, or beat yourself up. Doesn't help. What helps is to calm down, remember, recover, return. And in this complete white space, I finally did calm down. And I was like, this is not bad to be alone. And I started to enjoy it. And I stayed there practically all night. I eventually forgot that I was there and started dreaming in nirvana. I would say, from my experience, where we came from was this invisible space where you're free to dream. And the things that we dreamed before we came to the physical reality are beyond my own belief. I couldn't believe what was happening. You won't believe who you really are. You know, The Wizard of Oz really is a good story because it wasn't an all-powerful God, and the movie is a little different, at least from the book I got that Maria led me to, because in the beginning it really explains how the wizard is truly good and truly has built Oz to teach you the most valuable thing ever, and you might have to suffer a little. But the analogy that on another plane, this is a myth and you are the wizard. Your true self is the wizard. This is Mama Orsic, right after she told me she was the inventor of the modern UFO. Her name was Maria Orsic. She lived on Earth. I believe it was the next week. She went into reality is the Wizard of Oz, and that's why it's my favorite story. As a child, she said, as a growing up her whole life. Like she had her hair braided one time, and she was like, and she had a light blue and white little dress on, and she was like, "Who am I?" This might have been that first night, and I was like, I don't know. I honestly don't know. This was completely out of body in another world, and she was like, "Jojo, I'm Dorothy. I'm Dorothy." She's like, "Instead of a little dog, I have a little cat." She's like, "The Wizard of the Oz rune." True story. The first full group ritual we had, and Maria was there. Truth be told, I guess there was about 7 or 8 of us there. Every single person, randomly, with their eyes closed, putting their hand in a bag with their eyes closed, every single person in the room chose their sun sign rune, the rune of their astrological sun sign. And my friend, who is very good with numbers, he told me how astronomically odd that was. A miracle. Basically, that 8 people would hit the 1 out of 24 8 times in a row. And she's so beautiful, so powerful, that I got used to this kind of thing. And I'm very thankful on the, level that it doesn't really, long before I knew she was Maria Orsic, like, I think it was the second ritual, she said to me, "I don't operate like the Bible God." She's like, "I operate individual to individual." And she's like, "I think you know what that means, right?" I was like, "I don't know." And she's like, "That means, like, in a natural, courteous way, if I do something for you, and I don't explicitly say this is a gift, in a sense, we all believe in the balance that I don't expect something back, but something should flow back, right?" And she said to me, "I don't need your money. I would never ask you to kill your son." We both laughed. She said, "But basically, I do something for you, you do something for me." And for real, I was very thankful. And I mean, she saved my life, saved my life. And every week I'd be like, I feel bad. What can I do for you? And she's like, "Joe, that's why I said I don't need anything." She's like, she laughed and she said, "You don't even understand. You're doing it." And she turned away from me and she said, "All I want is the truth. Thank you." And thank you. And I want to thank her for, touching other people. Like, I watched a young woman, Helke, I think she goes by Helki. Great name. Absolutely wonderful name. Loki, Hella put together. And yeah, I mean, whoever you are, sister, you are on. You are on the path. You are tuned in to Mother Mary. Helki on YouTube tells a story about meeting Mother Mary, who we all know is Mother Orsic. And the vessel, you know, and it's a wonderful story. Everyone should bless yourself by listening to it. Because really, if you're in relationship with the gods, your life really, truly will have the plot twist that Hollywood wishes they could come up with. You know, and in a world where we don't need to eat or drink and energy is free, you know, you don't have a electric bill, you don't have bills where we come from. We don't have capitalism where we come from. I mean, come on. I mean, in a world of word games, America lost and the Yemeni won. You know, I am Maria Orsic's student reporting to you from Armageddon, America. In Maria Orsic's own words, the worst nation that's ever existed because it stabbed its forefathers in the back so deeply. What did Thomas Jefferson want? Freedom for the individual person to be able to have their own journey, their own story. And I am reporting to you, Mr. Jefferson, God of one of the gods of America. Hail to Thomas Jefferson. Hail, Thomas Jefferson. Hail to you forever, our teacher, our brother, our father, father of our land, father of the spirit of the true revolution, the Jeffersonian revolution. Hail to you. In that contradiction, in that conspiracy, in that backstabbing reversal, America, the light of the rights of man, after World War I really brought the curse. World War II sealed it. And I am reporting to you from there. This is the land of delusion. As we vaporize children with gigantic bombs, the only industry left, the only thing we make, the only thing we export anymore, and people believe the status quo is going to keep rolling on, that the machine is going to keep rolling on. But as Maria said to me, computer chips, they are slave whips. And you might say, well, we're in technology, but in the future, the whole entire point of technology is to set each person free from the mental slavery of living like a rat. It's trying to store up enough food for its children's children's children and takes it from other rats just like it and says, too bad. I mean, it's ridiculous. Why do we live this way? Like Maria said, back home, what does life center around? The orgasm, pleasure, pleasing each other, traveling together, loving each other. This survival mentality keeps you here. They are the masters. They're the masters of their imprisonment. They have mastered how to project and reflect onto other beings that they are able to do it in a dream state technological matrix. But like Lou told me, that was the key to the simulation being real, because during World War I and II, the fate of the little man was being decided by the giants who are the gods. All the myths of the gods, they say like it goes back to Egypt. It goes back to Egypt. Well, there were kings that ruled the earth before us. They were a technological race of humans, which meant they didn't have a lot of children. They were very, very concerned about the future, about living and carrying on. They were our ancestors. And you got to think about the word giant. I mean, because let me leave you with this into the next. And I am not just saying these things. Here's why. On 5/5, very May 5th, 2023, after basically about 12 years of in Maria world, pretty calm, in a way, calm, rituals, and that gave way to one crazy, unexpected night. No bullshit, no exaggeration. We had been doing this for 13 years at the time, or 12 years at the time. And in those 12 years, she showed up early to my house and made it known that she was here. Maybe once. I don't even hardly, maybe once. I was half awake. It was like a full hour before we were to begin. And I could so clearly hear her voice. She was like, I'm here, JoJo. Jojo, I'm here. Can you hear me? And I was like, oh my God, how can, I can hear you. What are you doing here? And I said to her, hey, I'm just getting dressed. I said, what do you think I should wear? What shirt do you think I should wear? Because I already had some comfortable pants, comfortable PJs on. Swear to the gods. She's like, you remember that Shiva shirt you used to wear? I said, yeah. She said, do you have that? I looked around for it, and I put it on. This is no lie. And we began, and everything was normal. We danced, we created the energy. I laid down to meditate like she said, like 500 times before. And I was like, what's going on? Something's different. What is happening? And she's like, can you see me? I was like, not really, not yet. And she's like, just keep relaxing, relax. And I was like, there's like some energy in the room. I was like, I don't know if it's good or bad. It's like powerful. And she's like, just try to relax. I was like, okay. And I'm relaxing, listening to the music. And she's like, let me know when you can see me. And I relaxed enough, and it was like I went out of my body right to her in my own room. And I was like, oh my God, why are you dressed like that? She had 2 braids that started, in the very front of her hair, going all the way back. And just 2 braids. And she looks so beautiful. Like, I even said to her, like, wow, I like seeing your face so clearly. That was the one break in the like crazy energy. And she had on like a very fancy white dress with gold Vril sign in the over the heart, and a like white coat jacket with all kinds of gold and gold Vril signs on the sleeves, and it was like down to her thighs. And I was like, why are you so dressed up? And she's like, you're gonna see. She's like, how do you feel? I said, crazy. I thought, it's like a generator is in the room. And she's like, she smiled and she's like, Joe, there's something you're supposed to say. I'm like, what? And she goes, how do you feel? I go, I don't know why, but I feel like yay West. And when I did, me and her, like, in a millisecond, like, met as one, and just the very spot we met was just projected into like a different room, a totally different space, different room. And me and her were standing next to that very same stone throne that I seen in my dream that Yahweh was on, with a bunch of makeup and a wig and black leather and Marilyn Manson. He was looking just like Marilyn Manson on a giant stone throne. And I was standing beside the stone throne, again with Maria right next to me. And that stone throne is so big, like his knees bent and sitting on the chair, like my chest was up to like his waist on the throne. And so my head was just barely above his stomach. And Maria is a foot shorter than me almost. And I just couldn't speak. I was like, what is going on? What is going on? And this is, again, I'm bringing you into this because of Giant. But I will, and we'll go deeper and deeper. But in this moment that I was standing beside the throne, I heard, and I had spoken to Lou several times. I heard a voice in it. My first thought was Lou, and he said, "Jojo, do not be afraid." He's like, "Look at me." And I tried to look, but my best description, it looked like a real spotlight was like right behind his head, like right on his head. And when I thought that, and then I thought, there is no electricity here or plugs or lights. This is actually his brain, his mind is just, I was just like, what? For real. My literal thoughts were, what is happening, Mother? What is going on here? Is this good or bad? Because it was so powerful that I had to be wise about it. I had to be cautious. And it was like everything was telepathic. He could, us three, and he quickly showed me there was someone else standing in the room on the other side of me, which he said is my twin brother, meaning one of his avatars, like Maria is the avatar of his wife, Queen Donna. And he said to me, "Do you know who I am, Joe? Do you know who I am?" And he even said, "Reach out and touch me. It's okay. I'm not here to harm you," or something like that. And I said, I looked at Maria, and she looked at me and just smiled. And I went, "No, I don't know who you are." And he said, "I'm Allah Lucifer Yahweh." And I looked at Maria, and with my mind and with my mouth, I went, "What? What? Allah Lucifer Yahweh." I'm not kidding. I could not control myself or my thoughts. They were just pure authentic. And somehow my mind went back to him and said, "Lou? Are you Lou? Are you Lou?" And and he laughed and said, "Joe." And when he said Joe, I looked to my left, and the hooded monk that had appeared to me 20 times in the last 14 years was standing right next to me with the same beard and the same long, robes, monk robes, totally veiled. The veiled prophet, the fucking veiled prophet. And he said, I'm him. And I went, huh? No bullshit. And when I said, huh, his mind said, come here. And he was just like 3 or 4 feet away from me. But I turned around and walked to him, and he pulled back the hood for the first time in 14 years, 12 years or whatever. And behind him was this long straight black hair all the way down to like his knees. I'm not kidding. Beautiful too. Beautiful. And and a really nice black beard with some gray, a little tiny bit of gray. And this was all commented by Maria later. And check this out. He untied the brown monk robe and undid the laces, and he just let he took the sleeves off, and he just let the robe drop, and he had a beautiful, like, kingly gowns on that were beautiful white with red, gold, and green, beautifully all around the sleeves and down the. I mean, it was one of the most beautiful clothings I've ever seen. And around the neck was this beautiful red, gold, and green with like the sun, with the runes, with the pyramids. And he just started dancing and dancing around me. And he was like, do you know who I am, JoJo? Do you know who I am? And I'm looking at Maria, and she was laughing. She thought it was hilarious. So that made me, in all, I mean, it was just, I was just like, what is going on? Like, who are you? And as he was dancing around me, he was saying, with his mind, our minds met, and he said, Joseph, you know who I am. I'm the avatar of Lucifer. You must tell all. I am giving you permission. I am telling you to tell all. Tell everything that you've been shown. Do not fear. Do not think you're going to offend us in any way. Tell everything. Tell all. And he was like, and you know who I am. I'm the real Jesus. I am her husband, ordained by the gods through the magic marriage of the Aldebaran Hyperborean gods. And I looked at Maria, and she nodded her head, yes. And then she started like dancing with him a little bit. And I looked back at the throne, and he was like, I go, but I don't know. I go, I was laughing and stuff, but I don't really understand. And he goes, he's my twin brother, Gemini. And I go, huh? And he was like, we're all one. We're one. And really, this is before I experientially understood how much other people can be one, switch bodies, and teach each other through, like, lending their experiences to each other. I wasn't really fully aware of that at that time, right? And one more time in the middle of that, I became a little more confused, and I was like, but, and for real, we'll just say, if you can't figure that out, who that was the avatar from World War II. Lucifer's avatar from World War II, the ultimate avatar. What? And he was saying to me, he is me, because we switch bodies. We're that close with each other. So I know you don't know yet, Joe, but 2 people can be 1, 3 people can be 1, blah, blah, blah. 12 people can be 1. And in the middle of this like celebration, I grew a little confused still, and I did touch his leg because he kept saying it's okay to touch me, it's okay. I'm your friend. Like he even said to me, I'm White Hawk. I'm the one that came to teach you and told you to use the name White Hawk because I am that White Hawk that was visiting you. I was the one that was switching bodies with the hawk. And then I got really happy. Then I was like, oh my God, like this is really happening to me. This is the person that is going to help, Maybe I'm getting out of here. That's what I thought, for real. And one more time I said, I don't want to be rude, but I want to understand. You have a twin brother, and for real, this is no bullshit. He was like, Joe. And when he said Joe, it was like I was looking up at that throne and all that light and this big old giant dude. And I just, like, on my left, in my ear, I heard like, Joe, I'm over here. And when I turned to look, I was outside in front of the tree, at the base of the tree, where my granddaughter said she went into the tree with the fairy. I was standing there, and it took like a few seconds to like register that this was completely, totally happening to me. And then I understood what happened to my granddaughter, because I wasn't seeing a vision or anything. I was completely there, and I'm standing on the ground, and Lou, with the hood, the monk robe, the hood, but no beard, and looking, not the same person that I was dancing with, a different person, but the same person on the throne, right? And I looked, and he said, look, Joe, here I am. And it registered. We were like maybe like an inch tall, and we were standing out by the tree, and he was leaning against like a blade of grass. And he's like, I'm Lou's brother. I'm Lou's twin brother. Do you understand now? Do you understand Gemini? Like the true self and the projections of the true self. Like it goes further. It goes, through love. It can extend and grow on to eternity. And I foolishly went like, you're Lou's brother. Wow. But he had the hood. He had the hood like covering his eyes, and he smiled, and he was like, Joe, I am Lou. I'm all these things. And he's like, right there is a 1-inch person. He said to me, this is a night of celebration. He's like, you didn't think that Jah was real, but Jah is real. I heard all your prayers. I answered all your prayers. I answered every single one that was sincere. I answered every single one. And he said, believe me, I did not want to harm you in any way, but your true self makes the plan, and only I can fulfill it. This is my world. You're in my imagination. This I am truly the God of this world. I've predestined everything. I am fate and destiny. We are one. Me, my wife Diana, my children Hella, Jason, Addie the Avatar, Sigrun, your mother Maria. We're all in this world as one, connected through our imaginations. And it all goes back to Egypt. I was like, it goes back to Egypt, huh? And when I did, I seen him. I seen the Pharaoh mummy case. And like a light on it. And he was like, this was the real me. This was my real life on earth. I'm just a man just like you. It's through technology. But the key to the technology is the imagination of the God. And you're in my world. Do not fear. It's all a trick to trick the inauthentic, to authenticate their evil, that they're willing to live fake lives, to harm others, to trick others. There's only one way to prove it. The evidence of their unconscious when they don't know they're being tested. And that was what was happening to you your whole life, ordained by your true self. And he said, you still don't know what's going on. But what's going on is, it's all over. When you die, you're going home. You'll never suffer here ever again. And because I am absolutely true to my word and true to my name, I will reward you for everything you suffered in my name. It was all recorded by technology. No one's getting away with anything. Ever. Hail to his beautiful, lovely name. The God of light, the God of the pyramids. Lovely Lou. St. Louis. Louisiana from Indiana. Hail to you, beautiful Maria. We love you so much, brothers and sisters. Good Luke from Jokey. I'm just joking. No, really. Good luck to each of you. May Lucifer protect you with the counterclockwise blue light of Venus. Heil to you, brothers and sisters.